Hello, I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Welcome to CMC's review of the 20th CANTO Conference and Trade Exhibition. Over the next 60 minutes, we'll take in the CANTO meeting, which took place in Miami, Florida, under the theme Accelerating Broadband in the Caribbean, Transforming the Way We Live. Come join me on this journey of information technology. Information Communication Technology, or ICT, is probably the single, if not the most effective method of connecting people, organizations, countries, and the world. And the Caribbean is much of the same, with ICT being used as an instrument to strengthen connectivity and development between and among member states. The region, like the rest of the world, has been depending on the use of such technology to achieve many goals and services for many years, the likes of regional integration, a single market and economy, crime fighting, e-health, and e-education. Another major target is that of the Millennium Development Goals, or MDGs, which has a 2015 deadline. But there is a school of thought that suggests that time is running out on the region in achieving these goals because of the existence of a digital divide, as the rest of the world has left the Caribbean behind in that ever-changing digital era. In fact, from all accounts, the region is playing catch-up in plugging that digital gap. But with less than 3 years left to achieve these critical MDGs, information communication technology, it is said, is a must. That theory, among others, was examined at the 28th Caribbean Association of National Telecommunication Organization Conference and Trade Exhibition held in Miami, Florida in July. The CANTO Conference, a yearly calendar event, was held under the theme Accelerating Broadband Experience in the Caribbean, Transforming the Way We Live, and was held for the first time in the Magic City with over 500 delegates from around the world in attendance. Secretary General of the International Telecommunications Union (ITU), Dr. Hamadun Tori, was one of the experts attending the conference, who believes that ICT tools are necessary in ensuring that the MDGs set for 2015 and beyond are met.
Because we need this tool to be there so that other sectors can also evolve. The Millennium Development Goals in health will not be met without e-health. The MDGs in education will not be met without e-education. And therefore, the tool needs to be there. The e-component needs to be there so that it will be used by other sectors so that it could move forward.
Dr. Torre, who held a side meeting with IT ministers of the region on the fringes of the CANTO conference, admitted that the Caribbean has a long way to go in bridging the digital divide. But he is pleased with the region's commitment and drive towards the development of the sector. In fact, he said he has begun to see what he calls a mobile miracle into broadband services.
This industry is the one that has created more jobs than any other sector in the world. 2/3 of the new jobs in the world have been created in the ICT sector. And that's true in the Caribbean region too. And therefore, it's giving us tremendous potentials. It will be the tool that will help the other sectors to evolve as well. We talked about tourism, we talked about health, education, government, online. All of those will be done only through the ICT. Therefore, in the past 10 years, the evolution has been tremendous. Of course, it's a constant challenge because it is a constant moving target, because it's natural that technology evolves. And we have to be there on time and adapt to it as we move along.
Another top official at this year's CANTO conference was Bahamas' Prime Minister, Perry Christie. He too admits that the region has a lot of work to do in its quest in plugging the digital hole. Christie believes that the goal is achievable, but said there were a number of negative factors that must first be removed. In a bid to remove those barriers, the Prime Minister issued this challenge to CANTO and sector officials, as well as delegates.
When one looks at the compelling urgency to develop our countries and the access to the internet that enables the average person to get a hell of an education, that we really must work hard to get organizations like CANTO, where ministers come, where technical providers come, to be able to help the policymakers in the region think through our challenges. When you look at what other countries are doing with greater resources, and you see the amount of money they're spending to narrow the digital divide, to make things accessible to their people, you ask yourself the question, how are small territories we're going to be able to do these things to advance the interests of our people?
A number of other government ministers as well as delegates also agreed that ICT is an important tool in accomplishing the MDGs, including IT ministers Dr. James Fletcher of St. Lucia, Antigua and Barbuda's Dr. Edmund Mansour, and their Grenadian colleague Vincent Roberts.
I think we're very far advanced in many of the MDGs. There are a few of them that we have some work to do, but I think what is in front of us is not beyond us, particularly where technology is concerned. Where technology is concerned, it's not difficult to bridge that divide. What it calls for is, one, a little bit of investment, two, a lot of education, and three, a lot of collaboration. And I think if we do that, then we can get it done.
Yes, we need to deploy broadband. We need to deploy it first in disadvantaged communities in the context of the divide. But simultaneous with that, we need to talk about opportunities and how we leverage on the broadband. Let us be practical. The funding agencies will come and will conduct studies. Those studies are there to influence our thought pattern. But we should say to the funding agencies, we not only want to narrow the digital divide, we not only want to narrow the broadband access deficit, but we want to ensure that we're not creating an opportunity divide. And that is where the challenge lies.
We have to make sure that we have the legislation in place, and we are also working closely with the ITU and the EU in making sure that we have all of these legislations. We have quite a number of them drafted already. The legislative text is in place, and it is now dependent on the countries. We're in the final phase of that project, so hopefully, that should be in place within 1 year. I see no reasons why we cannot achieve the MDGs by 2015.
But there were also dissenting views on the relevance of ICT to MDGs, some of which came from Barbados' IT Minister, Darcy Boyce.
I thought that is a role for all of us. Government is only in all our economies, maybe 15 or so, 60% of the economy. The private sector is 84, 85% of the economy. So yes, government is going to play its part, but the private sector, there's enough room in the private sector in all our areas to do more with broadband themselves. And that's where the dividend is going to come from the business community doing its role as well. And yes, government must do its role. Our role is twofold. Our role is to encourage the telecommunication companies to provide the infrastructure, and our role is to make government more efficient and better users of the technology. And our third role is to create the conditions that when other people wish to take advantage of technologies, that they are empowered so to do. But we have to see it not as a sequential role of government going first. We really have to see it more as a partnership where we all hold hands together and push together to get this thing done.
Here is one of the exhibitors on show at the event with his view on the issue.
It's about 900 and something days left before the Millennium Goal must be achieved. I think it's unrealistic, but this is why we are saying that we have to do the unrealistic and we have to strategically achieve it. There are methods to the madness, and even though that it requires a lot when you have to create partnerships to get things done. Partnerships in itself is a time-consuming effort to even get it on paper and to make it proper. But I think the task is achievable. It's going to take a lot of strategic partners to get involved.
The 2012 CANTO conference held an action-packed 3-day agenda with meetings, an exhibition, interactive sessions, and a lot more. We have only just begun to touch on the highlights, so don't go away. We'll be right back with our recap of the event.
Hi, Glenda Medford. I'd really like to congratulate CANTO on their 28th anniversary. As a former director, I'm really very pleased with the direction that CANTO has taken, and certainly how CANTO has grown over the years. I'm particularly pleased this year to see the number of ministers who have found it necessary and important to share their views in terms of accelerating broadband with CANTO operators and all stakeholders. And certainly I'm looking forward to very productive discussions, and discussions that will be reaping benefits for the Caribbean.